What do you get when you take a novel written in the 1900s about a super submarine and you add a sea dragon to it?
Atragon!
You weren't supposed to tell them! I was gonna have them wait until the end of the film to find out. Now you ruined it! Enough!
A taxi driver is extremely hot. Elsewhere, a photo shoot is interrupted by a steaming man who gets scared off by a flash of the camera. The taxi from earlier drives off a dock, accompanied by more steam.
Can someone explain what just happened?
I sure can't, and I'm the guy who just read it.
The next morning, the taxi which was stolen is raised from the sea. The photographers Susumu and Yoshito explain what happened the night before to a detective, Atto, but they can't find the body. The photographers spot a woman they think be perfect for a job. A shady guy watches her leave from a distance.
After the photos are developed, Susumu asks Yoshito to find the woman they spotted before. Ito reveals new information to the photographers that deepens the mystery. Another person was kidnapped, an engineer like the first man. Suddenly, an earthquake occurs.
A reporter, Umino, visits a former admiral from World War II, Kuzumi. He asks about an experimental submarine that disappeared with the crew and Captain Hishiro Jinguji. Umio reveals that Jinguji is still alive. Yoshito calls Susumu to let him know that he found the woman. Turns out the woman is Makoto, who happens to be Kasumi's secretary and is also the daughter of the missing captain.
Susumu and Yoshito arrive just as Makoto and Kasumi are leaving and follow them, themselves being followed by the shady man and Umino. Makoto reveals to her boss that she's noticed the shady man following her, but the driver turns out to be an even more imminent threat as he tries to kidnap the two. The photographers continue their pursuit, arriving in time to halt the kidnapping.
The kidnapper, number 23, reveals his intention to take the pair to Mu Empire. Yoshito attacks 23, but the strange man turns the wrench red hot by holding it. More agents of Mu arrive with a submarine to take the hostages with them.
Well, that's not creepy.
Sugamo manages to disarm 23 and fight him. Kusumo holds 23 at gunpoint, but the agents of Mu return to the ocean.
Oh, good. He escaped. You guys can't do anything right.
To be fair, they weren't prepared to capture anyone when he showed up.
Later, Detective Ito is told of the encounter. He then receives a package for Kasumi containing a reel of film. The film is played for the police and it documents the history of the Mu Empire. A submarine that went missing during the war is present in the film, though Jinguji and his crew were not aboard when the Empire found the vessel. The film demands that Kasumi order Jinguji to stop development on the Atragon, a more powerful submarine that threatens the Mu's Empire's plans for world conquest, threatening to unleash their god, Manda, upon the surface.
Basically, the Mu Empire is telling the Japanese government to destroy the one thing that can stop the Mu Empire.
The UN rejects the demands of the Mu Empire, and soon after a naval vessel is destroyed at sea. Venice and Hong Kong are devastated soon after. A search for the Mu Empire begins, but even the UN's most advanced submarine is destroyed by the intense pressure of the ocean.
Under pressure.
With no options left, the Japanese government pressures Kasumi to reveal what he knows about the missing unit. Kasumi reveals that Jinguji rebelled and went missing. The shady man is caught and revealed to be Amano, a member of the missing unit, who had been tailing Makoto on the orders of Jinguji. Another earthquake occurs, and the voice of 23 reveals that Mu is responsible for it. He reiterates the Empire's demands for Jinguji. Umino shows up and he manages to convince Amano to reveal Jinguji's location.
A mystery submarine arrives at its destination. 23 returns with news that they will soon know the location of Jinjugi and his men. Another earthquake occurs, but the agents of Mu are surprised by it. The people of Mu pray to Manda to aid them in their effort to restore their kingdom to their former glory.
That reminds me of Mothra's followers.
Yeah, but these guys are evil.
Amano reveals that they'll arrive at the island by midnight. Makoto voices her concerns for her father to Susumu, who believes he understands Jinguji's way of thinking. As the ship nears the island, Umino drops a ball into the water, which is retrieved by a Mu submarine. The team arrive on the island and are greeted by bayonets, but Amano's presence put the guards at ease.
The team then travels across the desert, but the wheel gets stuck and only Umino doesn't help get the truck running. Umino shows a photograph of deposit of minerals and soon arrive at the secret headquarters of the missing unit. As the team rests, Umino reveals that he can hear the sounds of underground construction.
Jinguji finally makes his appearance, reuniting with Kusumi and Makoto. Jinguji reveals that the Atragon will have its first run the next day. Kusumi requests Jinguji's aid, but the general intends to use the Atragon to reclaim Japan's glory. Makoto runs off, upset with her father, and Susumu tells him as such, and goes to join her.
Later, an officer arrives to lead Kasumi's team to the submarine, and soldiers find Unio wandering the jungle, claiming he's gotten lost. The team are taken down to an underground dock where they finally get a look at Atragon.
Gotengo.
What?
The ship is called Gotengo, not Atragon.
Then why is the film called Atragon?
I'll explain later.
Okie dokie.
The Gotengo crew board the vessel for the test deployment. On the surface, Kasumi's team witness the Gotengo rise from the depths, assumed into the air.
It can fly? The submarine can fly?
Later, everyone is gathered for a banquet to celebrate the success of the test flight, and Jinguji reveals that the Gotengo has been in development since World War II, when the unit encountered the Mu Empire in an abandoned ship, leaving behind the blueprints for the Gotengo. When Kasumi reveals that Japan has abolished war, Jinguji is enraged. Kasumi tries to convince Jinguji to use the Gotengo to save the world from the Mu Empire, but he refuses to use it for anything other than restoring the Japanese Empire.
What a jerk.
Later, Matiko and her father discuss his extreme nationalism, and she pleads that he uses the ship to help the world, but he even refuses her. She compares his nationalism to the Mu Empire, and she angrily runs off. Susumu confronts Jinguji, afterwards calling him a ghost in rusty armor. Jinguji gives him his only picture he has of Matiko to keep safe.
Umino captures Makoto, revealing his allegiance to the Mu Empire and stunning her.
Wait, you're saying that the shady guy is not on the level? Oh.
Susumu happens upon the kidnapping and confronts Umino. Umino reveals that he planted explosives on the island before he subdues Susumu. The explosives detonate, destroying the underground dock and burying the Gotengo in rubble. Umino drives off in the confusion, avoiding gunfire.
Down in Mu, the people are worshipping Manda. The Queen finally makes an appearance in the film. Watching the ceremony, her people perform as Matiko and Susumu are brought forward. The Queen declares that they are to be sacrificed to Manda. The pair are taken to a prison cell, shown Manda, the giant serpent god.
Have you ever heard the phrase, "Where is your God now"? I've always wanted to just point.
Back on the surface, the crew are working to dig out the Gotengo. Ito informs Kusumi that agents of Mu have appeared at a crater in Mount Mihara. Flying bombs are launched from the crater as civilians are evacuated from the area, but the only ship off the island is destroyed.
Well, ain't that just dandy?
Susumu and another prisoner return to the cell after being tortured. Susumu reveals he stole an explosive rod. They learn from the last prisoner that the Mu are launching an all-out attack on the surface world. Mu demands that the surface world destroy the Gotengo and surrender by midnight, lest they face utter destruction.
The crew manages to dig out the Gotengo, which is still working just fine, and prepare to launch. The Gotengo uses its massive drill to bore its way out of the underground dock. Jinguji reveals to Kasumi his intentions to stop the Mu Empire, and the Gotengo flies towards its target destination.
In Tokyo, midnight strikes and the attack comes from below, sinking a large region of the city. Mu's submarine begins attacking ships at sea, destroying an entire fleet. Then the Gotengo arrives, and then the priest sends the word to the queen.
Oh, you in trouble now.
The Gotengo pursues the submarine as it returns to the Mu Empire.
The queen arrives to take the prisoners to be sacrificed, but Susumu grabs her and holds her hostage using the explosives he stole. The prisoners then make their way to an airlock, but the queen presses a button, releasing Manda. The escapees plan to return to the surface with the queen, but she refuses to change into a pressure suit, so they start filling the room with water anyway, which changes her mind.
Well, she changed her mind pretty quick.
The threat of imminent death will do that to a person.
That's true.
The Gotengo pursues the Mu submarine to the entrance of the underwater nation. The escapees come face to face with Manda. The escapees get the attention of the Gotengo. The submarine launches torpedoes at Manda, allowing the escapees to get to the sub.
Makoto is once again reunited with her father. Even aboard the Gotengo, the queen remains defiant and demands they surrender. Jinguji offers a peaceful solution, but she refuses, and Jinguji is forced to destroy the heart of the Mu Empire.
Manda begins to wrap itself around the Gotengo, trying to crush it, but the ship is electrified itself, forcing Manda to let go. Gotengo then launches a freezing jet at the serpent, freezing and killing the god. The Gotengo then burrows its way into the earth, crashing into the Empire's power station.
That entire paragraph, awesome.
A team then infiltrates the Empire and begins freezing the soldiers they encounter, planting bombs all over the power station before returning to the Gotengo. The ship then freezes one of the thermal engines before returning to the surface of the ocean. The Queen witnesses the destruction of the Mu Empire from the deck of the submarine. The Queen chooses to die with her empire, flinging herself into the sea and swimming into the explosions.
That was Atragon, a movie so good that they actually remade it twice.
The plot was very interesting.
Yeah, and Manda looked cool.
Yeah, but I think he needs an updated look.
Final Wars. The Gotengo was cool, too.
Yeah, wait, you were supposed to tell me why the movie's called Atragon and not Gotengo.
Oh, yeah. I have no idea.